Hey, welcome. It's 108 with IOB. Slightly different edition. It's slightly a little bit cleaner than it was the other day, 2 days ago, when we did our first sort of social special, our first hour and 8 minutes of chat. Now you can chat to me. I think it'll be on that shoulder if you're looking at me. If not, it'll be on that shoulder down that wall. So you can chat, ask some questions. I'm Ian O'Brien. I'm one of the world's greatest international sportsmen. You can write your own. If you can write your own intros, you guess you can write your own intros. Excuse me. So what this is, what I'm doing this for, is because quite a lot of us are stuck at home and we've not got a lot to do. So my idea was, all right, let's try and fill some of the wavelengths, some of the screen time or the listening times. This can be listened back to once I finish. So there might be something in here that you quite like. There might be some stories in here that are interesting. Probably not funny, because that's not really. I wish I could tell funny stories. I have stories I think are funny, but I don't necessarily have stories that are funny. But not to worry. I can see there's a couple of people watching or listening or whatever. Say hi. It'll be nice to know who's with us. I guess today we start with a virus update, coronavirus update, and well, it's getting a bit more serious than I think some of you thought. I've always taken it very seriously, this virus, and I've been very outspoken about what we should be, how we should be looking after our own selves and each other. One of the best things I've heard was pretend you've got the virus and go about your life like that. And I think that's the safest way that we can do things. So if you imagine that you've got it, you then have to justify every interaction you have with another person, every interaction you have with something inanimate, whether it be a door handle, a stairs rail, whatever it will be, the banister, a drawer handle, anything. You have to contemplate every one of those interactions. And I don't think we, as a group of people, are doing that anywhere near well enough. I got angry a couple of times yesterday when I was had to leave the house yesterday. It was the first time in 3 days that I had done so. I managed to sort of just oh gosh, got the hiccups and the burps. Excuse me. Managed to hide myself away here at mum and dad's house, because I'm in New Zealand at the moment, not the UK, because it would be dark outside. But I'm in New Zealand at the moment, having a bit of a relax and a reconnect with friends and the country, friends, family, and the country itself. So I'm having a bit of a time at home to recharge and reconnect. This end of the trip, I wanted to be heading up towards Hamilton and Auckland, maybe through New Plymouth, to see people and catch up with people. But I've had to stop that. There was a group of us going to meet on Tuesday night at a pub in Batoni. I cancelled that. There was a lot of people that I wanted to see. I hadn't seen for 5 years. Some who haven't seen and spoken to for 5 years, and it was going to be a good chance to have a face, have a cuddle, have a hug, and shake some hands and slap some backs and pat some backsides, guys, in a cricketing way. So I've withdrawn myself out of circulation, if you want, not because I have any symptoms. I'm just pretending that I do have symptoms. I'm pretending that every interaction I have, I could be passing on to someone. Yesterday was a strange one. So I did have to get out of the house, and I did have to go and see a couple of people. But I made sure that all of those interactions were from a meter away. We were at least a meter apart, and we could have a good chat and a coffee. And I did go out for a curry last night, and it was me and a mate sitting across the long way of a table in a curry house. And look, and same yesterday morning when I caught up with a friend. Looks like we're going to have some connection bothers, maybe. Okay, all right, look, we're back on. Mum and Dad's internet, Mum and Dad's Wi-Fi isn't necessarily the best, so we could have a couple of interruptions, little fuzzy pictures, or maybe some just pretend it's raining real heavy outside, and there's some rain haze. So I did get to catch up with people yesterday, and again, like I said, I treated it as if I had the virus, and we all stayed far enough apart that sharing it was nigh on impossible. Can never be impossible, but can't just shut yourself down completely. You still have to have social interactions, limit them, limit the group sizes, and be in careful observance of distance rules and what you both touch and don't touch. So yeah, tough day catching up with friends. They were catch ups I had to have, and I was very very careful. Look, I'll let you in on a big, not a secret, but maybe why I've been taking this so seriously. So this is a little bit hard for me. So my family, wife and kids are back in the UK. I came out here on a, like as I said, on a bit of a reconnection. There was, I had some repairing to do. Okay, looks like that should hopefully fix some of the connection problems. Sorry about that. But yeah, I've been having a real tough time of it, with my depression being easily the worst. Worst I've sort of, in terms of depth, certainly the worst, and in terms of length of time, certainly the worst. And when you judge your highs and lows, as we do in natural life, I have to judge my highs, and I enjoy them, when life's going good. And then around the corner every now and again, there's a big period of where things are pretty tough. And so I'm coming out the other side of a very tough period of depression. I have a few answers, and I have a few. Life's getting better. Life's always been good, and there's never been a risk of it not being. I think you understand what I was trying to say. No matter how bad I've ever felt, I've never ever felt that bad. That's not ever been a thing for me. So I'm grateful. I'm blessed. I have some wonderful things in my life, but they're not the reasons why I would not do anything silly. I just enjoy being alive. Sometimes it's really hard. That's okay with me to an extent. So this trip back out to New Zealand was a full reconnection. A place that I haven't been to for 5 years, people I haven't seen for a long time, in some cases, over 5 years. Some people that we haven't even really, how boys are, guys are, you don't really stay in touch with your mates, but when you catch back up again, it's like you never left. You both look pretty much the same. It's because you both aged and your eyes have got worse, I think. So this trip back here is to refuel, and I keep saying reconnect. It's like that. It's like hopping back in the car and your phone just reconnects with your stereo. It just happens, and it automatically happens, and you don't even have to think about it. And that's what this coming back home was just come back home, and it would automatically happen. And I knew it would, and it certainly has. And I've done a lot of driving. I've covered some countryside. I've spent some great time with family. Spent some great time alone as well, which I do really enjoy. I've got way too sunburnt, peeled through 2 layers of skin. There's just the remnants of the end of peeling on this arm. That was a golf day Friday ago with Lexus. That was good people, by the way. This arm's almost finished. The backs of my legs have almost finished peeling. So there's been 2 layers of skin that I've peeled through. So forgetting how brutal the New Zealand sun is. Excuse me, black coffee, just to keep things fluid. And thick black coffee too, by the way. So it just really is got that viscosity of like Ribena. You know that Ribena, you can just go glug glug glug, or milk that's just a bit warmer than fridge temperature, and you can just slides down. You know that viscosity. Oh, that feels nice. That kind of honeyish Cheers. That kind of dessert wine. Oh, yes, sir. Thank you very much. Lovely. Anyway, so coming back to New Zealand was a way for me to refuel, uh, have loads of memories flood back from trips, from family trips, places that I've been before, places that are important, places that are special. So it was cool. It's been great to do all that. Got to go and watch the Black Caps at Hagley Oval. First time I've been to the new Hagley Oval. When I played there, it was nicknamed the Hagley Highway. It's not quite that anymore. It's a little bit more friendly to the bowlers, and I thought that Test match was brilliant. I enjoyed watching the New Zealand bowlers and the Indian bowlers go about their business. It was that's a cool Test wicket. I would have loved to have had a little run up and bowl on that one, and hugely impressed with how the New Zealand team are going, and hugely impressed with how they are treating each other. And I spoke about it a couple of days ago when we were on the first live special. That there just seems to be a lot of love in that team, and so this trip has been about love. It's been about filling the soul back up and getting healthier. Keep taking your medication. Keep taking my medication. Keep doing the things that you're supposed to do. Get in good habits. I've missed my water polo that I still play. I play a bit back in Matlock, but I've been doing a bit of walking just because I've been walking places, not having access all the time with the car. So I've got the feet to the floor and headed out walking, and been down the beach a few times in Petone, and it's just wonderful. I've got some great photos and some great memories, some new memories of sunsets and things like that. So it's been cool. But why I've been so outspoken on this corona virus subject is more personal than that. I'm away from my home and from my family. Hi Ash, I see your message. What can I see from that window? I can see the next doors. So there's that's our 35-meter driveway that runs up and down, asphalt fence, some flowers, and I've forgotten geraniums, and then the neighbour's house. And above the neighbour's house, it is this amazing colour that we don't get to see in the UK that often. And even this colour we don't really get to see. It's this luminous blue. It's this beautiful, bright, gleaming sky, but not your sky, not the UK sky blue. And it's wonderful. Derek, hey, nice to have some love there. I only got to bowl into the wind because I had this beak and it broke the wind really good. I think that was an asset. But going back to why this virus stuff is so important to me is that, yeah, I'm away from the UK, and they're taking it a little bit lighter, a whole lot lighter than I expected, being a country that I thought would have led the way. And they certainly tried to take over the world and lead the way that way. They're sort of falling behind, and for me, in leadership, in terms of leadership, not surprising. Also not surprising that one of the other major countries in the world is fallen behind in terms of leadership and making decisions. New Zealand is up there, leading the way. Smaller countries living it and doing it better than the big, and showing what can be done and what should be done. But again, I guess I'm just trying to drag this out, but I'm not really. If my wife contracts this virus, it could kill her. And I say that without any flippancy. I say that without any level of exaggeration. She has a lung condition that doesn't affect her day-to-day life. It doesn't affect her doing anything. She has a lung condition that we discovered probably about 18 months ago. Rosie was, that's my wife's name. Rosie was coughing quite a bit. not just coughing for no real reason, and she coughed quite a lot. And there was an ad campaign on in the UK a while back, saying, if you've got a persistent cough, in terms of a cough that hasn't gone away, and you think you might have been coughing for maybe 3 months, sort of, it's been an extended period of coughing. Shorts on, just by the way, because I did get asked yesterday, did I have any pants on? I did. So with Rosie having this condition where her lungs are susceptible to infection, so any sort of chest infection can take years off her life, can shorten her life. I don't want that. Thank you very much. I got 2 amazing kids, and I'd quite like to have my. I was 3 kids when I'm at home. I'd quite like to keep her for as long as possible, because she's pretty, and she's marvelous, and she's pretty marvelous. She's wonderful. So if this virus, which is even more, so yeah, a chest infection will take years off her life, and this virus, if it gets to Rosie, if it gets to my wife, then it could kill her, and that's why I've been so outspoken, and so would you all please just exclude yourselves from the community and from society as much as you possibly can, and if you do have to, then take the known precautions, do everything you can to just keep your distances, and so there is no risk of transmission. And what's been hard in the last 2 days is, so with Rosie being susceptible to this, to the outcome of the virus, that's also made, for me, having the kids go to school, and for her, really quite tough to deal with. So Rosie's actually, Rosie did it. We discussed it. Rosie's pulled the kids out of school. So the kids didn't go to school this morning, and they won't go to school tomorrow in the UK. As it turns out, schools will be closed from Monday, where we are. So she's pulled them out of schools a couple of days early. Completely the right decision. I don't care what you think of that. Completely the right decision, because if one of our 2 kids comes home with any symptoms with it, or without symptoms, comes home with it and passes it on, and then life becomes very, very difficult, and even more real scary than it needs to be. And so given that they were pulled out of, didn't go to school today, the problem became that, so the first that they were pulled out from school, Zane, our son, he's about 7.5, he wakes up about 3 o'clock. Rosie can hear him coughing. Nothing sort of not normal about that. Zane often coughs in the night. And he coughed quite a bit through till about 5 a.m., where I got a very worried Skype call from Rosie saying Zane's been coughing quite a bit. So Zane and our daughter Alicia, she's 9. They share a room still. They are just the bestest of friends, and they're wonderful people, and they love each other, and so they share a room still, and they enjoy that. And so we then had to get Zane out of their room, and we have a spare room. So Zane was put into the spare room. Alicia was Rosie and I then. So Rosie's concerned, because if Zane is coughing, then she can maybe take in, inhale some droplets that'll cause some problems. So we had to get Zane a towel. If you're going to cough into that while we're shifting and while we're doing stuff. got our daughter to change her pajamas, change her pillow, change her duvet, go and wash her hands and wash her face. Rosie's doing this while A, worried for Zane, and B, I think petrified for herself. And I'm trying to be the cool, calm, collected one, because there is an element of panic when this when this happens. Rosie and I are normally pretty good at dealing with these things. I'm normally, it's amazing how Rosie, for every other thing in the house, she's amazing. She's brilliant and thinks of things and does things that I could never dream of. But then when it gets a little bit, where there's some pressure on, when it becomes a little bit of it, when there's emergency, it's good that I have an ability to sort of calm it down and try and make the best decisions and do it in an order that would be as safe or as smart as we could come up with. So we work hugely well together, which is which is great. And she's amazing. So Zane into the spare bedroom, isolated him there. He's got a Switch, a Nintendo Switch in there, which it was 5 a.m. so go back to sleep, but that would sort of sate him for the day. He could stay in there if you like, and Rosie could leave food at the door and he could come out and get it, and he could play on his Switch, and there's a few cricket bats and stuff in there he can get up and swing, and there's a few bits and pieces in the spare room that would entertain him. Alicia was then given she had the tablet. She's got a load of books in her room, and she's got some balls and all sorts of things to entertain her in her room. Rosie then change of PJs, wash hands and face, and trying to do all the right things with that. And I don't normally swear, and I'm going to try not to, but that's scary. Your son is showing signs, and your wife is hugely prone to it. So I spoke to them quite a few times last night. Zane's cough settled down a bit, and look, there is an element of he does cough reasonably often. He does have a cough in the morning, not just because he's a dry, heavy breather. Not quite like me. But he does breathe through his mouth a lot, and so he does wake up every now and again with a bit of a cough or a sore throat. He felt like he would have gone to school, so he didn't feel bad. He didn't have a temperature. So, I mean, the three early signs are sort of a cough or sore throat or both, and then you've got a temperature, and then feeling really average. And so he didn't feel bad. He felt fine. He felt normal. He didn't have a temperature, but he did have a bit of a cough. So we shut it down in our house pretty quick, and we've been really careful with how I've been trying to get them to do things. As I said, they're out of school, so I spoke to them. So it's nighttime there now. It's bedtime. It was bedtime a wee while back, and I spoke to them before bed, and Zane was a bit sad because he hadn't really had any cuddles during the day. So Rosie wrapped the scarf up and goes in and has a cuddle with Zane, and washes her hands and changes her clothes and washes her hands. So doing all the things we can without having hazmat suits and etc. Alicia just had a great day. Skyped her a couple of times on the tablet, and she was Skyping my mum, who's out in the lounge at the moment. It was they had a fun day of playing isolation virus game in the house, and they were okay, and it looks like Zane is fine. Sort of only really coughed a few more times during the day, but we took it pretty seriously, and I don't think enough people are taking it seriously. Ash, so I don't know if you all can see those, but Ash, you're doing all the right things. Thanks, Ash. Lucy, that's Ash's amazing partner. Lucy has asthma, obviously less severe than Rosie's condition. Yeah, it's all relative, but we're being careful. Only essential quick trips to the shops for me, and Lucy's near isolated. Yeah, and this is the hard bit, is that you do have to isolate, and even me. So like I said, I'm treating myself like I have it. I'm isolated, but I still have to remember to do the things that I would do. And things like having your prescriptions, having your medications, and those things can kind of slip your mind, and you can get into, I don't want to say unhealthy habits, because that's sort of maybe taking it too far, but you get into habits that are not necessarily healthy. You forget to do things. Sorry, Ash, I wasn't skipping past, mate. Aroha nui. That means big love in Māori. Take care, and I hope Lucy is cool, and I hope you're fine too, man. Love you guys heaps, and it's and it worries me, and it worries me a lot. I was driving to catch up with a friend yesterday morning. Excuse me. I left the house about just after 9:30, and I was driving. Came out of the mum and dad's driveway, headed down the road, and there's a group of about 40, all shoulder to shoulder walkers, and they all look 50 plus, or sort of look a little bit like a retirement group. Have all been out for a walk, all walking shoulder to shoulder, and so in terms of the groups that this can be severe to, older people. They look young, and they look younger in terms of, as opposed to being 70 and 80. But a group of 40 of them, if one of them has it, there's a 10% chance of passing it on. It's something around that sort of mark. That means 4 of them have got it. 4 more people have got it. And that means there's another 4 more that can pass it on to 10% more of the people that they see. And it just made me angry that people are being so flippant with this disease, where it can kill people. I saw yesterday in the UK, a 45-year-old died because of this. Now, the 45-year-old did have motor neuron disease, but it wasn't his time. It had nothing to do with him being his time with his current disease that he was dealing with. Put this on top of it, and that's not fair. People are being selfish, and that really pisses me off. And I don't even use that word very publicly. It just annoys me. I mean, I see these video clips of spring break kids in Mexico or wherever they are, these American spring break kids going, "Oh, we're just going to party and it'll be fine." We're seeing photos of people in the gym, and they just put one set of weights down and someone else picks them up. There's no spray, there's no cleaning, there's nothing, and everyone's just sweating. And then there's my wife, and I'm sure there's thousands upon thousands of other people in the same situation as me, where some involuntary transfer of that disease. One of those gym people, they put a note down and give it to someone in a shop, and I happen to get that as change. That note has the virus on it. I take that virus home. I push a button on an elevator, and I pick it up. I take it off a hand banister, a stairs rail, and I pick it up. I take it off a door handle, and I take it home. I take it off a cupboard or whatever, or wherever, and I take it home with me. And that's BS. And I think that's selfish to the highest. And it really, really annoys me. So that's half an hour, I guess. That's me banging on about this whole virus and me and my situation. I did get a couple of questions last night, because this can't just be me talking for an hour. I can, but I'm not sure how everyone else will take it. But I did get a couple of questions from a friend of mine, Dave, back in the UK. And actually, I'm gonna yeah, alternative rain delays. So playing cricket when it rains, we don't play. It's not the worst of scenarios. Um, we enjoy playing, obviously, but a rain delay means that we can't get hurt. Means that yeah, our bodies don't hurt and not in pain. So a rain delay isn't often it's not often criticized that damn you rain. It is something you can't do anything about, and so we kind of accept it. But a rain delay activity, because that could be adaptive while self-isolating. So, well, yeah, I mean, basically of all of the rain delay options that there are, and there's many. Depends what you've got on. A squash ball and a signature cricket bat. That's great for just playing around with. You can play that game that that little just hitting the ball with the like paddle tennis rackets or little short tennis rackets. You just sit and hit it back to each other. See how many you can do. There's so many different variations on a small bat and a ball that won't go too far. A ping pong ball's perfect. Squash ball, because they don't go. You have to hit them really hard for them to sort of cause any damage. There's so many different things. Take marbles and play long games of marbles. Make up obstacle courses and play mini golf obstacle courses. Pull out chairs and you have to go under. We did a load of things. There was sometimes guys would take golf clubs on tour, and so they would make their way into the changing room and yeah, we would have not necessarily sort of chip and putt, but we would create. You may have to chip over one bag and then putt into a cup, or you had to get it in between two shoes, and that was the whole. There were so many little stupid games that we all got involved in. So anything to keep your mind off it. Go and learn how to stream movies. Go and sit down and go and Google how to learn different things. Go and learn how to count in Hindi. Go and learn how to count in Urdu, pretty much the same. But go and learn how to count in a different language to 10. Go and learn how to say please and thank you and you're welcome in 3 different languages. Say hello, please, thank you, and you're welcome in 3 to 4 different languages. Go and learn how to do those things. They're cool things to be able to do, and fortunate that I've been able to travel, and so I have had interactions with many different people from many different countries, and I've learned how to say hello and thank you and please and you're welcome in many different languages. Flo, hey, talofa. So Flo's just said hello to me in Samoan, talofa, and that's, while it's probably, I don't think it would be on our list of national languages. English and Māori would be, but Samoan would be right near the top of the 3rd language spoken in this country. Tasi Lua, Torofa Lima, Ono Fetu, Iwa Savalu. That's 1 to 10, if I'm not mistaken, in Samoan. Flo, so go and learn some different languages. Derek says, yeah, ridiculous panic buying in London. What's it like here? We are a smaller population density, and so while there has been a bit of panic buying, I went and bought some hand soap yesterday. There was a bit of a shortage of that in one of the supermarkets. I only went into one supermarket yesterday. There's a little bit of a shortage, but I got the brand, or I got the one that I wanted, so no big deal. Certainly no problem with toilet paper, meat, food, bread. There's no shortage of that in our supermarkets. Again, density of population, it makes a big difference. Jane, hey Jane, nice to have you. My mum has advanced COPD and dementia. Dad is 83, terrified for both of them. They need a caregiver in, and she can't get masks. I had 10 I bought months ago when I had a cold. I dropped them in the front step for them after spraying the box with sanitizing spray. Yeah, I get it. my 20-second hand washing count to 20 is to count to 20 in Dutch, and then count to 20 in Hispaniola. Yeah, perfect. I can't do Dutch. I can do a little bit of German, which is not too far away from Dutch, but my Hispaniola isn't too bad. Uno, dos, tres, cuatro, uno, dos, tres, cuatro, cinco, seis, siete, nueve días. Something I need to fresh up on that. Flo, yeah, not bad for my Samoan. You're the baddest Sarbogan I know. Living in Hawaii in high school, Jane learned Talofa. Yeah. There's a load of those Pacific Island language that have certainly New Zealand, Australia, and Northern America with the Samoan population in North America and USA, the rock, Hobbs and what was it? Thing in Hobbs. A lot of that filming was done in Samoa, which is awesome. Taking big movie budgets to places that could do with a great investment into its movie industry. So I loved seeing Hobbs and Dobson, or whatever it was, the Fast and Furious. I learn things, man. I love learning things. If you're, oh gosh, maybe I shouldn't say this, but if your TV subscription service isn't cutting your, I see Spark in New Zealand has. Well done, Spark. I say that again. I compliment you on taking my advice that I pumped out on Monday. Good to see you're following. Maybe. But other streaming, other subscription services, you're going to have to reduce your subs, your subscription, your fees, because you're not giving content. You'll keep more customers happy. You'll keep more customers. If you lose a subscription, they're not going to sign back up. It's harder to get someone to sign back up, so you might as well cut your subs. So go and learn how to find internet streams of sport. Obviously, there's not going to be a lot of sport on at the moment, but go and learn how to do it, so that if you do cancel your subscription, you can pay a whole lot less in the future for your internet streaming. There are so many YouTube and YouTube tutorials and written tutorials that are written for everybody, everybody's ability. I helped a friend here be able to hook her computer up to her TV so that she can stream her computer screen to the TV. It took going and buying 2 pieces of equipment, an HDMI splitter, and then a serial port or a DVI port to an HDMI. And she can now, when they get delivered, she'll be able to put her computer on the TV, watch YouTube, download movies, all legally, of course, please. I wouldn't suggest you go and do those things illegally. Like I said, keep paying for your subscriptions, but you can find cheaper options out there. Jane knows a few. Actually, Jane's not bad with this. With Willow, I think Willow Cricket, along those lines, Jane, if I'm not mistaken. But there's plenty of other options out there that end up being cheaper. They're a little bit more annoying in terms of you can't just go with your that's the noise a remote makes back in the 70s. That's the noise a remote makes now. So you can find cheaper alternatives. They're a little bit more cumbersome, but golly gosh, at home we're saving the odd pounds a month on our TV. On our TV entertainment budget. That's a lot of money. That's 140 New Zealand dollars. That's a serious amount of money that we're not forking out. And with me going back to university and not being able to work anywhere near as much, or maybe even work, depending on how hard this how heavy. So I think that answers that one, Dave. What do you do when you're not doing anything? Of course, if you're in a cricket change room in a rain break, you can't be using your phone. So you have to find other things. How will the music of Bon Jovi save us all? Well, it just will. So Dave actually made a deal with me when I first started playing with New Zealand that he'd teach me a Bon Jovi song for every wicket that I got, every wicket that I got. So he owes me a few songs. there's still plenty of songs that I won't be able to learn in terms of yeah. But he owes me a few songs, or maybe it was one song for every 5 wickets. I can't remember, but either way, Dave, I'm still waiting to learn the bass line to. I want to learn the bass line to "I'll Be There for You," the intro and the bass line, and I definitely want to learn the intro acoustic solo on "Wanted Dead or Alive." I know loads of people can do it, and I probably should just YouTube it. But I want to learn some of those. Yeah, there's a lot. I'd love to play "Blaze of Glory." I love that song. It's not a Bon Jovi, but it's a John Bon Jovi song. So there's the music of Bon Jovi will help us all. There's a song called "Save a Prayer." Save a prayer for me, and I'll save a prayer for you. There's some wonderful songs. There's a song "At the End of the World," which is a little bit of a throwback because it was a hidden track on the end of what was the album? I've forgotten the album. I'm normally pretty good with those things, but there's some amazing songs. "I'll Be Your Superman Tonight." There's some, and these are some of the newer songs. They were in Bon Jovi were in the UK last year. I didn't go. First time for a while that I didn't go to a Bon Jovi concert. I've been 5 times. I've seen them 4 times in the UK. McAlpine in Huddersfield in 2001. I saw them in Manchester at the Old Trafford, at Manchester Football at Old Trafford in some date. I then saw them at the Etihad, Manchester City football ground a little bit, and I've seen them in Hyde Park a few years ago, and also saw them here at the stadium in Wellington. I've been very lucky, very fortunate, so that's been cool. But I still love Bon Jovi. It's still my band of choice, and I still listen to them a lot, maybe a lot more than I should, but it makes me so happy. All the music makes me just so happy. Favorite song, my absolute favorite song, and I've heard them play it live, and it made me cry because it was that emotional for me. Sounds ridiculous, eh? I am a bit of a my emotions and me, they run, everything runs close to the surface. You don't have to guess too often what I'm thinking. So, but they played Dry County. Now that's a 9-minute epic with 2 guitar solos and drums to end all days, and a message of and a very political message that resonates still. The lyrics in that song are hugely powerful, and it's bloody great song. I love Temple in the there's a Devil in the Temple off the newest album. That's an amazing track. So simple, such a simple rock track. I reckon I'd be able to learn how to play that one in a day, but just such an amazing song about influence and someone coming in to a legacy that you've created, whatever it is, and dicking it up because they need to swing their piece around. So wonderful song and quite a powerful piece of music for me. I love Silent Night. And I love it how it leads into King of the Mountain on 7,800 degrees Fahrenheit. I love all their songs. Everywhere and New Jersey, 2 of the best albums anywhere. New Jersey, best album ever for me. That's my number 1. That goes everywhere with me. Homebound Train, and it's just an amazing album. Never Say Goodbye, far out. Bad Medicine, that was my song. If you go, so Bad Medicine was my song that I walked out to Batten. They didn't get to play it too often. So when we were playing for Wellington, I had Bad Medicine. And my very last professional game of cricket for Wellington, my last game, it didn't go particularly well, but I did. And there is a YouTube clip of it, and I think Kiwi Gem who spoke to us yesterday, who I was helping with her TV and computer thing. I think she recorded it. I think it's her video clip. There's a video clip of me getting a wicket with my very last ball in New Zealand professional cricket, and they play Bad Medicine over the PA, and that moved me because it was that was cool. Last little bit, but I really got to affect in cricket in the country, and sounds silly, doesn't it? But it was very cool. I got lucky. So Bon Jovi will save us. Which of your former teammates is likely to have caused this pandemic with their socks after a long day in the field? Yeah, I don't think any of your former teammates would have caused this with their socks. I don't remember any teammate being particularly stinky or particularly acidic, eating through their socks. It could have been Matthew Walker, actually, from Wellington. He did go a whole season. He went one whole first-class season without washing his playing shirt. Used the one shirt for the whole season and never washed his one shirt. There's no clues into why we called him Ming as a nickname. So he got called Ming. Yeah, he had more honk than a flock of geese. So it could have been Pisey, Matthew Walker. Could have been him. There's always a stinky keeper, a stinky wicket keeper around. Their hands are always in gloves, and they're always in wet pads. Get batting, keeping. They go into the bag, zip the bag up. There's always a stinky keeper. They smell a bit stinky, like a Badgers set, what they live in. Yeah, that's not stinky, but yeah, I could see a few of our guys forgetting that they weren't supposed to touch things, and and just being a bit not very smart. And David, last question he sent me last night. He goes, "Is there a hygienic way of playing sport?" Fencing. I don't think there's a particularly any more hygienic sports than fencing. I think that's about it. I mean, you basically look like you're going in to check on ET and Toby. I think that is pretty much a full hazmat and a long sticky away foil epee sword to boot. So I think fencing is probably the only sport. Great footwork, fence, and you can get into some very good American universities. If you were to do fencing, it's one of those sports that is held in high regard in some American universities. So if you do have a dream of scholarships and American education, university education, that's maybe not the worst sport to take up. Small catchment, you'll be there's not as many fencers, not farmers, fencers, not people that in the world. So you'd have a smaller a group to be picked from. Maybe worth a thought. Something that I may give my kids I don't really want to go to the university in the States, but because of the footwork and bits and pieces, maybe a sport that I know a fencing teacher, so I may give them a crack at something like that. Just give kids access to all the sport in the world. That was something I mentioned on Tuesday. The amount of sport that we had access to here in Petone, here in New Zealand, it was awesome. Who's working from home? Who's in sort of isolation? There's actually only you, Flo, in this time zone, isn't there? Jane, you're in the States. Derek, you're in the UK. So is you, Ash. Anyone? Okay, even if you are in the UK, who's working from home? Jane, you working from home? You counting and keeping everybody ticking over? Hygienic sport. I recommend wicketkeeper's gloves. I've never caught a thing while wearing them. Very good, Derek. Nice use of irony, if you like. Very good. Yep. But if you do have a keeper, they are a keeper, aren't they? Yeah. Anyway, there's a few other bits and pieces I was going to talk about. Dad woke up with a sore throat this morning, so while being in isolation. Oh, Flo, you're stuck at work. Say hi to your two wonderful bosses. I hope they don't mind. You haven't got me up on that big screen. Jane, you're switching to 1 week at home, 1 week in the office. Okay. I hope your first week's at home, and then they go, no, actually stay at home, don't come in. If you don't need to go in, please. Gee whiz. So Dad woke up this morning with a sore throat. He had so Dad is treasurer and on the committee of the bowls club across the road, Underarm Bowls, the ones that go whoop. Yep, that's the noise that I pretend they make when I go and have a bowl. So they had a bowls club meeting last night. They're talking about what to do with the club, whether to close it in the meantime or just close the bar. So it is there are fewer social interactions, if you like. Looks like they're just going to my annoyance, if you like, or my view, which is shut the whole thing down for 2 weeks and let's see where we are. But they're gonna stay open and just advise people to be as careful as possible. That's cool. That's their decision. It's not what we've done as the Matlock Water Polo Club. I'm chairman of the club. Out here doing in New Zealand, seeing lots of WhatsApp messages. But yeah, we've stopped training, we've stopped games. We're not getting together as a group of people because we don't think it's worth it. We have a lot of kids, in our groups, and kids have contact with parents and grandparents all the time, and especially if work. People aren't going to go to work in the UK, then there is, or do have to go to work and schools are shut, then there are going to be a lot of grandparents in line for some extra kid time, for some homeschooling. So yeah, I would much rather see everything cooled off for a wee while. I think for me it's safer. They're going to stay open. Yeah, Dad wakes up with a sore throat this morning yeah. So I was walking out I got up, so I slept in here, went out, and I was walking out there. Mum goes, whoa. I'm like, oh yeah. Mum goes, yeah, Dad's got a sore throat. So that means that Dad, myself, and Mum and myself, well, I have to stay as kind of far away from those two as I can now for a bit. So those two, they would have close contact enough, so I guess there's no keeping those two isolated. But because Dad come home last night feeling fine, they then sleep in the same bed. Great. Anyway, so yeah, he woke up this morning, which means that in terms of being laying next to each other, breathing and coughing or whatever, it's more than likely that there's been enough time for, if Dad does have it, for him to have passed it on, so they can isolate together down one end of the house, and I'll isolate together by myself down the other end of the house. And I'll have to find a way how to unplug this computer and take it and go and do it from the beach tomorrow, or go and do it from the beach on whenever I find. So kind of it'd be horrible if they say that the bowling club has just come, but be as careful as you possibly can, and he possibly comes home with it, because that means he's picked it up from someone over there, and that's likely that someone over there has already got it then, because that's where Dad would have picked it up. So that whole traceability and while we can't get grumpy at who we've possibly caught it from, unless it's that basketballer, you idiot, you absolute arrogant, selfish, that touched all the microphones in front of you are, we shouldn't get too grumpy with what's happened and how we get it. Just if you have it and you pass it on, I hope you feel guilty for it because you did not treat that with the respect. You're not treating the situation with the respect that it deserves. It'd be great if I had something else. If yeah. So yesterday saw that group of 50 plus walkers last night. So again, I just had to see this a mate of mine last night when we went and sat and had a curry. Again, we sat miles apart. I didn't. It was a push open door, so shouldered it open on the way in, and I managed to follow close enough behind a couple that were leaving that I could just get my shoulder in and pull it back to get through it without touching the door handles. So managed to control all of my contact points, which was cool. In a stupid obstacle course, Indiana Jones, floor is lava kind of a way. But there was a group of maybe 6, maybe 12, maybe 14 couples at a big table, 14 couples in the restaurant. All the ladies were 6 to 8 months pregnant, and all the partners were there sitting shoulder to shoulder and sharing bread and well, maybe they weren't sharing bread, but everyone's sitting there having a curry. It looked like we would call it like an NCT class or a neonatal, like a pre having a baby group of people. I remember going to them; they were all right. Don't know if I would have gone out for curry in the middle of a virus pandemic with 6 or 7, with 5 or 6 other couples. Just that annoyed me, and I think it's allowed to annoy me because if one of them gets it and passes it on, you got a woman with a baby who possibly. Look, there's their choices, but they can pass it on to other people. And that's the bit that I really get angry about is if you don't take your own precautions, well, okay, that's yours, but you can pass it on. You can kill someone else. That ain't cool. Jane, I get it. I understand. Take a chill pill. Yeah, he's okay. He's all right. He's young. Anyway, yeah, so it is what it is. I don't know if you guys remember, but when I first got back to Mum and Dad's house, I was sitting on the couch and I showed you a photo of one very, very scary doll. So Mum sort of collects oldish dolls. So that doll that I shared a photo with, it's on Facebook and Twitter. Shared a doll with, and it's scary. That doll would be 69 years old. So Mum got it when she was a young girl. I think she was sort of, I can't tell you because that would give away her age. Obviously she's over that, but that is a scary doll. And it's sitting there like this, one arm up, one arm slightly down with its head just turned. And I feel like it's just going to do this at some stage, and it's just going to give me the absolute, yeah, and I'll be out. I will be out of the house and gone, which is virus or whatever. That doll's going to come alive. But I've got these other ones. So this is in the room that I sleep in at the moment, and it's like, I mean, that is a very scary doll. Or that's not particularly not scary. And here's another one. Mum does love these dolls, and these are reasonably heavy, so they're made out of, I don't think it's plastic. I think it's a type of plaster. So I have these here. They look like Chucky's babies that have been burnt in a fire and been painted. Look at their hair. They look like they've been burnt and been painted over to these stare at me in my bed. They are, they're not particularly not scary. I'll show you this. This is cool. This is special. I probably should have taken him with me actually, but this is my teddy bear. So he doesn't need he's obviously looking after his skincare with his daffodil. He's worried about that's the skincare cancer daffodil. It's one of our emblems in the country. So this is my teddy bear that I had when I was very, very young. He's not doing too bad. I made these clothes on the sewing machine, so I cut them out and sewed the hems on the singlet. Yep, singlet. And I then these numbers are glued on. So glued the numbers on. Well, it's IO. It's the number 10. It's IO. So that's my teddy bear. And the elastic in the shorts, I don't think there was any elastic in the shorts. He bloody needs some now, though. Gosh, golly gee. So has he got a... Oh, I thought he had... Does he have a... Oh, he's got... Oh, I thought he had a sound, or... Where was it? I can't remember. Gosh. But he's still a happy little bear. Yeah, so that's my teddy bear when I was a kid. Anyone remember these? So this is just in a box of stuff. Anyone remember these? This one hasn't got the other one's got a card in it, but there you go, Viewmaster. Yeah, we've still got a couple of sets of these and quite a few of the round discs. It gives you a 3D, puts a picture in each eye, and it gives you a 3D image. Yeah, it's just a box of stuff from our childhood. There, so there was 4 of us that used to live here, and so we had two Viewmasters, one between one boys, one girls, one if you like, and used to. We had quite a few Star Wars. Oh gosh, quite a few Star Wars cartridges. Bugs Bunny, Jungle Book, Huckleberry, Yogi, another Huckleberry, Sleeping Beauty. Well, that was quite scary. Peter Pan, Raggedy Ann, Heidi, Winnie the Pooh, $6 Million Man. So they all come with little sleeves. I don't know if you've seen all these. They all come with sleeves. So this is a MASH one, and they have stories on these discs if you've never seen them. But I'm going to go with there's a little bit of a money's worth. I shouldn't do that because you get to see the top of my head. Dumbo, welcome back, Cotter. Gee whiz, there's some junk here, like good junk, I guess. Some Mickey Mouse ones, Superman. Oh my gosh. Yeah, so there's these are. Don't do that. I just can't remember to not do things, can I? So there's some money's worth there. Yeah, Jane had a Viewmaster, and Derek had the 3D glasses. Who's this? Bugs Bunny and Big Top Bunny, Colonel Corny's world famous circus, Jungle Book. Oh my word! Yep. So I might have to go through them. I'm sure I had some Star Wars ones, maybe. Oh, what's in here? These might be the Star Wars ones. Bambi, Love Bug, you know, the V-Dub movie. Donald Duck, Mary Poppins. Oh my word! Snow White, and a Disneyland one. Oh, marvelous, marvelous. I'll have to go through them this afternoon. I wonder if I can make those pictures, get those pictures on the screen. Wonder, who knows? We'll see. Right, so 3.5 minutes to go in this 108 with IOB. Go and have a look at some of those if you have or hadn't. Some opinions, discussions, how-tos, how things work on cricket. Yeah, I'll tell you what I have enjoyed. Arnie and his donkeys. Go and find I saw it on Twitter, I think, but go and find the Arnold Schwarzenegger and his donkey Schwarzenegger and his donkeys. It's beautiful. And let's all be like Arnie. Come with me and stay inside if you want to live. Let's all be more like Arnie and stay in and be happy. Try not to strangle your donkeys. Try not to be too tough with your donkeys, but what an absolute beauty. I saw another movie of his pop up this morning. Absolutely just the right attitude. Just, stay at home, have some fun, do some silly things, keep yourself occupied, have good company. I miss and I'm worried about my family. I rang up Emirates and spoke to them, and I was trying to get earlier flights home, but so I have a return ticket. If I try and bring my return leg home through Emirates using the ticket that I've already got, it will cost me a minimum of £640. But if I just buy a fresh, brand new one-way ticket to the UK using Emirates on the same flight that they were trying to rebook me on, it would cost me £500. So why does it cost me more to rebook using my original ticket than it would do if I just bought a new ticket completely? So that says that the fare, so let's split my fare on the way here in half, whatever that was. So it would then cost me, I think I got here for £800, I think it was, maybe just a little bit over. So let's say that's 400 each way. It's not how it works, but let's just say that means they want to charge me 640 plus the 400 for half the ticket. They want to charge me £1,000 to get home, when I could actually spend less and buy a whole new ticket. So gosh golly damn, while they may be waiving the change your ticket booking fee, which is about £200, which still seems excessive, but they are waiving that. They're not taking into consideration what your ticket is worth, and you're then paying more than you need to upgrade your ticket. So really disappointed with Emirates. I know a couple of people that have managed to change for free. One is an older guy, and one is a lady about similar age to me, I think. But yeah, they wanted me to pay £620, £640 to change my flight home, to bring my flight forward. I was very disappointed with Emirates. Hey, 108 with IOB, it's all up, it's all done. We've just popped past the hour and 8 mark. So that's me. Thanks for being here, and I'll see you in a couple of days. Love yous.